In today's news, Sony Position PlayStation 5 for the hardcore gamer, AMD hold the patent for a new hybrid ray tracing technology for next-gen platforms, and Remedy Entertainment announced the next game in the Alan Wake series could come to PlayStation and other platforms, and a whole lot more. How's it going? It's Tuesday, July 2nd. Welcome back to FOXY Games UK, new and existing subscribers. I'm Fox, your reliable source of aggregated video game news, speculation and rampant rumour. In our first news item, initially reported by TechRaptor.com, developer Quantum Break, new Control IP and the original Max Payne games, Remedy Entertainment have announced they have acquired the publishing rights to Alan Wake and intimate that the series may go multi-platform, meaning for the first time in the series' long history, Alan Wake will be playable on PlayStation. In a press release, Remedy stated that they received a one-time payment of €2.5 million for royalty fees for the first half of 2019, and in relation to this, the publishing rights of Alan Wake games are reverted to Remedy, according to the listing. Originally released in 2010, Alan Wake was originally published by Microsoft Game Studios, making it an exclusive title for the Xbox 360 before being ported to PCs in 2012. Alan Wake is a horror title with the body of a cinematic action game where players controlling the titular novelist Alan Wake must ward off mysterious beings known as the Taken, shadowy creatures hell-bent on killing Alan with the help of a flashlight that leaves them vulnerable to conventional weapons as Alan Wake investigates the disappearance of his wife. Alan Wake was a fairly modest success and saw a spin-off title, Alan Wake's American Nightmare, released on the Xbox 360, as I say, and PC back in 2012. Remedy has teased a multi-platform release in the future, whether that means a very likely remaster of the first games and or a totally new entry in the series. Here's a quote. The only thing we want to clarify now that Remedy owns the publishing rights is that we could bring Alan Wake to different platforms if we so choose, a Remedy spokesperson told website Eurogamer, going on to say, we have nothing to announce for now, we are fully focused on Control, releasing on the 27th of August. Interesting news, huh? So many assumed Alan Wake was tied up and left to Microsoft to decide whether the series should continue, but it seems Microsoft have absolutely no interest in Alan Wake nor a Quantum Break sequel, which in my opinion is slightly disappointing because if handled correctly, both games could have been a real feather in the Xbox cap, particularly being exclusive to a Microsoft platform. Still, they say one person's loss is another person's gain. Would you be interested in Alan Wake coming to PS4 or 5? And Sony are pretty well invested in single-player / campaign narrative heavy titles, therefore Alan Wake would be a great fit for Sony's platforms. I'm pretty sure PlayStation gamers would support it, but don't let me put words in your mouth. Share your thoughts regarding Alan Wake potentially coming to PlayStation platforms in the comments. In other news, it appears Sony do not consider Nintendo as a major rival. Sony admitting they're more concerned with Microsoft and Google next generation, sourced via NintendoLife.com, but initially reported via WSJ, the Wall Street Journal. Here's the full story. So, the Wall Street Journal has published a detailed report about Sony's next-generation PlayStation, and according to the source, a Sony representative explained how Microsoft was seen as its main competitor next generation, with Google also a potential threat as technology improves. As for Nintendo, Sony doesn't perceive it as a major rival, primarily because its main users are typically younger than PlayStation's target audience. Sony's aim is to target PS5 to hardcore gamers who love big-budget AAA games by doubling down on big exclusives and publisher partnerships. So a repeat of PS4 then, which is a great strategy to continue going into next generation. It's a key element in why PlayStation dominated this entire generation. Sony's intense focus on large software publishers has also supposedly upset some executives at smaller indie companies, with the Wall Street Journal mentioning how certain game makers felt snubbed in contrast to how they feel about Nintendo. Sony, unlike Nintendo, has no plans to support the indie development seen at the upcoming Tokyo Game Show. Though I think to balance this a little, Sony went really the extra mile with indies for a significant part of PS4's life cycle, lest we forget PS4 was dubbed Indie Station for the first year or so. Sony are strategically positioning the next generation of PlayStation for hardcore gamers, which could mean really a few things. Firstly, we know the hardcore gamer is willing to pay the premium as an early adopter of the latest generation of hardware, and Sony know this all too well. So, reading between the lines, Sony could be hinting the console could initially cost $500, which could turn the casual base off, at least until 18 months or 2 years in, when official permanent price cuts are introduced. Sony will have to support PS4 and Pro for at least 2 or 3 years into PS5's life cycle in order for first-party/third-party publishers to make money. I expect PlayStation 5 to sell a little slower than PS4 did post early adopter phase, and the price of entry will be why. Casuals will happily sit on older gen hardware until the price is, shall we say, more appealing to that demographic. Sony's next generation PlayStation is still more than a year away, but its marketing strategy to counter newcomers like Google is already clear. Focus on hardcore gamers who obsess over the latest technology and features. A simple idea, but it works. Okay, so in our final segment of this video, you may or may not recall my stating in a video several months ago that PlayStation 5 will use a combination of software and hardware-assisted ray tracing. Pause. So initially, my words were scoffed at. But who's laughing now? Because AMD has been so kind as to share with us that they hold a recent patent confirming everything I have already relayed to you wonderful Foxy Games UK subscribers. AMD confirmed the company is refining its next-gen software and hardware hybrid ray tracing technology sourced via DSOgaming.com. Here are some early detail. So AMD is about to release its new Navi graphics cards, and that's been reported just about everywhere. These GPUs though will not support ray tracing, at least the first line of Navi GPUs. However, it appears that AMD is already working on a software and hardware hybrid model for ray tracing, and according to AMD, this hybrid approach will address some issues that can be found with solely hardware-based ray tracing solutions and will bring major performance improvements to games taking full advantage of it. It's worth noting that AMD has patented this hybrid model, meaning that we will most likely see it being used in next-gen consoles. Both the PS5 and Project Scarlett support ray tracing, and since they will be using the graphics cards, the first line of Navi that don't support hardware-based ray tracing, I'm all but certain this method will be heavily used in next-gen consoles, and I cannot really add any more to this than I have in the past videos, way before this AMD announcement. And to be honest, this news has come so late to the party, it feels pretty old to me, and that's a feeling that's sure to become all too frequent as we get closer to PS5's launch. The price of being early, I guess. Though if you wish to learn more about the science behind this latest AMD ray tracing solution, you can do so via the link provided in this video's description, though in short it reads like a bunch of gobbledygook. You really need to be well versed in the jargon and terminology. The main takeaway, as I understand it, is that next-gen consoles need to launch at reasonable price points, and this is one way of getting ray tracing on PS5 and Xbox Scarlett at a reasonable price. But what say you? Go ahead, sound off, share your thoughts and opinions on today's news, because that unfortunately brings us to the end of another video. But let's continue the discussion in the comments. And for all your current and next gen news updates, rumor and rampant speculation, why not hit the like button, spread the word, and oh yes, keep it locked to Foxy Games UK. Remember, all relevant links, where applicable, can be found in this video's description. Subscribe to Foxy Games UK. Remember to hit the notification bell so you never miss content. Thumbs up if you like it here. Help us reach more like-minded gamers simply by sharing the video. And if you would be so kind as to consider supporting Foxy Games UK via Patreon, and or grab yourself a Foxy Games UK branded t-shirt or hoodie, available in various colors and designs. You'll find both links in this video's description. I truly appreciate the support. But that concludes our time together on this Tuesday, and it was certainly great hanging out. Until the next video, remember, play games, not corporations.